Hey, it's Mark Weiss. Been reading a book. Let's see if I can get a shot without running off the road. It's called The $12 Million Stuffed Shark. The author is Don Thompson, and it is about the curious economics of the contemporary art world. A little background, I like collecting art. Most of what I have is California plein air, outdoor painting, some of it from the 1940s and some of it more recent. I know next to nothing about contemporary art. I didn't even know exactly what the definition of, quote, contemporary art is, although apparently there is no single definition of contemporary art, but I guess a working definition would be art produced by artists after 1970 up until the present. So I'm only a few chapters into this, but already I see the parallels between the art world, my practice, and your practice, your facilities, business, whatever. And that's the question of how in heck do you sell what Damien Hirst, a famous British artist, was initially commissioned by Charles Saatchi, an ad guy who is fabulously wealthy, who commissioned the stuffed shark, which I'll tell you about in a moment, for, I think the price was, they say, 50,000 pounds, British pounds, which at the time was, I don't know, I'm doing quick math, maybe 75, 85,000 US dollars. Damien Hirst bought a shark from some fishermen who caught it off the coast of Australia, had it taxidermied, had it suspended inside a large case, so it looks like it is swimming in water. The effect being that at a gallery, one would think there is a very large shark with its mouth open, cruising the gallery floor looking for its next meal. Hang on a second. We can leave this in the video. That was an Uber driver, not driving. Anyway, that piece was then sold several years later by Charles Saatchi, reportedly for $12 million. It was a highly sought after piece. So how can a shark that is stuffed by a taxidermist, floated in some formaldehyde solution or whatever it was, become a work of art? And how can it sell for $12 million? Similar examples are, and I forget the artist's name, an actual pile of wrapped individual pieces of blue and then pieces of white candy in a pile, sitting in a corner of a room, an installation, be a work of art that's worth millions. How can a room full of licorice, yeah, the kind you eat, be a work of art? And the answer is because those who drive the contemporary art market, chiefly a small handful of influential gallery owners, a small handful of museums which show art to give it the provenance, the pedigree that means that it's art, and a small number of collectors who are willing to buy this based on the provenance of the galleries and of the museums. They consider it to be art. So those who are interested in purchasing this don't have the skill, if it is even skill, to judge what is art or isn't. So they look for other cues, they look for branding. So you find very wealthy but branded collectors, you find branded galleries, and you find branded museums, only a handful of each. Interestingly, many of the contemporary art pieces that sell for millions in a year, those pieces aren't saleable 10 years later. Many galleries that sell contemporary art that claim to know what the art is and can understand its investment value close. So it's difficult to brand. but it is branding. And it's the same thing that separates the pricing and the relationship and the referability that exists in a professional practice, in your facility, in my practice. What drives assurance that you're going to treat the patient right? What drives the assurance that's going to treat your referral sources right? I'm not even talking about quality. In many cases, certainly the candy was candy, but the quality of the installation was viewed to have a certain value. You see the same thing in a supermarket, right? You see Coca-Cola selling for, I don't drink Coca-Cola, but you see it for whatever it sells for, which is a multiple of some store brand, liter jug of cola. So think what you can do in your practice, your business, to mirror the lesson of that $12 million shark. What image can you create? What added value can you provide? What, like the handful of galleries that are at that level, what assurance can you give to your patients by way of the way you treat them, by way of the guidance you give them that make them understand why doing business with you, even if it doesn't drive higher reimbursement, but which it could, but even if it doesn't, results in you capturing a larger share of the market. I suggest you buy the book. You could pick it up for less than $9 used. It may teach you something about contemporary art. It may teach you something about a rotting shark. I didn't add that point, that the installation began to fall apart. And it may teach you something about how you can use the same sort of concepts for your own benefit.